Hello, everyone, and welcome to Project Pixar. Today, we are talking about... Hey, wait a minute. Where's my co-host, Noah? Where are you?
Ah,
Uh,
I was inside and now I'm out.
Whoa! And that's the name of our next film, Inside Out.
How about that?
This guy, I tell you. So Inside Out came out in 2015, and it was, in my opinion, a great return to form of like just stellar Pixar
Absolutely.
stuff. So, Noah, let's get right into it. As always, who is your favorite character?
Yeah. It was kind of hard to pick a favorite character for this film. Not because any character really stood out, but because they're all strong on their own merits. But the thing is that they're all Riley. So I picked Riley. I thought Riley was the best character overall, because all of those different emotions are Riley. So it's all different parts of her. And as such, just as anybody, you're a complicated individual. There's different things about you that are created through memories and through experiences, and I think the film shows that really well and makes us really care about where Riley is in her life and what's happening to her and what eventually happens to her. So I chose Riley.
Great choice. I will break it down a little further, and I agree with you. It was tough for me to... Normally, there's always a standout character. There's a character I just attached to, or whatever the reason is. This one I had to think about for quite a while, so ultimately I'm going to go with Joy. I believe Amy Poehler is the voice actress for her, and she does a really good job of really riding that line between obnoxious but optimistic, because at times, like, she could be, but that is who she is. She is Joy. That's what she knows, and it is her job to bring light and happiness to everything. And she just does this good job of always trying to keep that positive attitude and really pushing forward. She has this great just like drive to the character, which I absolutely adore. So I got to give it to Joy.
As far as things going wrong, what was your least favorite moment or aspect of the film?
I don't think there is one. I think this film's pretty damn good. So what I'll just say instead, because there's not like a moment that stands out as like, ugh, that is that I personally have been able to avoid this, but I've heard a lot of critique of this film from people who I think it is detrimental to get too caught up in the logic of the film. And what I mean by that is that if you think of how everything, it's very easy to relate what you see on screen to, okay, but how does this actually work in my brain? Is there really this train of thought that, for us, a thought is instant. But in this thing, you've got to watch this train and it's got to drive up there. And then if someone's personality island breaks, that can smash into the train tracks, which causes the train to derail. So, like, I think you do really need to separate the logic of the film versus how you as a person actually work, kind of thing. And again, I don't think that's a detriment in the film, but I just mention it here because I have heard a lot of people say, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. It's like, yeah, you kind of need to just accept the film's logic for what it is versus like how you actually think. So
yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that there's really a weak part of the movie. I would say, just from a personal viewing perspective, sadness kind of works for me like Russell does and Up, in that she's kind of annoying at times, and that just kind of makes me feel annoyed watching the movie because she's causing problems. Like when she's just like being dragged on the ground and stuff like that. I'm like, oh God, sadness, get over yourself. But like, it's sadness. Yeah. So, I mean, she's doing what she's supposed to be doing. It's just, but yeah, nothing really.
Awesome. Okay, so what animation stands out to you in this film?
There's quite a bit. Mainly just the visualization of how the thought behind everything and how clear and clean, like these different, like the thoughts of what's going on inside of you is really cool. The way that they've brought it to light. I love like how the command center, like, is the big command center in the middle, and like how they set up this little keyboards and stuff like that, and their console, and the way that the memories are shown as these orbs and stuff, and the different islands, just some really cool creative ideas, especially when they start getting to like abstract thought was such a cool
Yeah.
way that they showed that, and like just kind of changing while they're stuck in there. I love the way they pulled that off. I love the way they do the nightmare sequences are really cool, and neat the way they kind of show that and explain that. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool ideas on display here.
Yeah, great point. Like you said, kind of, it's really more like the way they implement the ideas through the animation than maybe necessarily the animation itself. I love that the memory banks from above look like your brain. They look like the, lines and patterns that your brain has. And like you said, with the nightmare sequence, it's the tiniest detail, but I love that when she's dreaming and it says, okay, stand up, please. And they raise the camera, but it's from Riley's point of view. So it looks like she would be standing up. And I was like, that's so neat. I have to give a shout out to the design of the emotions, particularly when Joy and Bing Bong fall down into the dump, and everything there is so dark and desolate, but Joy is still like lit up, like a firework, and they have this like fuzziness to them. Like when you look at their hair, it almost looks like little neutrons or something. Like, it's really neat, and I've always loved whenever anger is about to go off, you can like see the heat around him. Like the screen gets like blurry, like right around his body, like where the heat would be, before his fire goes off. And I've always loved that. I've loved that they added that little detail that like, whoa, like you can see the heat starting to generate visually on the screen. So yeah, it's such and it's so colorful. God, it's colorful. I love looking at this film.
God, it's good. God, it's colorful.
God, it's good. All right. So next we have First Time Memories. I saw this with my girlfriend in a theater, and I think this is one of the first films I saw in a theater that had like reclining chairs. Like either we hadn't been to this one, or it was when a lot of them were in that transition. But not only was it really relaxing, but I also just remember it was the most I've ever laughed at a Pixar film. And to this day, I can still say it is the funniest Pixar film. It makes me laugh more than any others. Maybe there's not even like a real gut buster per se, but I just laugh a lot. There's so many lines and so many little moments that just keep making me like laugh over and over again. I did laugh out loud pretty hard at the ending credits when they're showing all the different people and when they zoom in on the cat's mind. And there's just these cats wandering around, and the guy bats at the control panel, and it flips out. Like, oh, it's so funny. So, yeah, I had a really memorable time seeing this.
Funny, this one I did not see in theaters. And, in fact, I think the first time I saw it was like on a bootleg,
really?
if I remember correctly. Yeah. So, like, the visual quality wasn't great, but even without that, I thought it was a hilarious movie. I thought it was really fun, and I really liked it. I remember a lot of people like saying, "Oh, this is Pixar's return to form." I thought it was great. I concur with that thought. It definitely was their best one since Toy Story 3. So
yeah. So what was your favorite musical moment?
The music's fine, but nothing really stands out to me in the music score. It's there. I can think about it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's Inside Out's music, but it's good, but nothing really stands out to me. I guess the Bing Bong song, maybe. I don't know.
So when Joy is ice skating along with Riley in her mind, and that's when the theme, Michael Giacchino's bum 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 bum, really soft moment. I like it. Giacchino's kind of funny as a composer because there's some stuff he writes, like The Incredibles, like Up, that's just stellar, and there's other stuff like I don't know if he's phoning it in, but it's really forgettable. Like you don't even notice it, it's just so weird that sometimes he can have just this standout knockout music, and other times it's like, it's just there. So I don't know if that's like directions he's given as the filmmaker, but because like it's not bad, but that's the only memorable part to me is when she's skating along with her and the little themes playing along. So
yeah, I can think of the theme, but yeah, outside of that, you said this was your funniest Pixar film, so you. Imagine you have some lines to give us.
I do. I wish I could remember them verbatim, but most of the stuff Anger says makes me laugh. Like I remember, they're like, and maybe it's the, congratulations, San Francisco, you ruined pizza. I hope you're happy.
That's a great one.
The way he growls. There's one line too. He says something like he like smashes and he says, "Because of you," and he just has so much anger in him that it's very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, there's so many little funny bits like that. Like I said, the whole section at the end where it's showing all the different characters, and between her parents, I love when she's trying to signal the husband again, and it's with her at the dinner table, and she's trying to her mind is trying to signal, sorry sir, we weren't paying attention. All right, we got to drop the foot, and just the way they animate that, it's
dropping the foot.
It's so amusing. And I guess I'll just mention too, probably the line that always really stood out to me, which is when they escape the dump, and Joy realizes Bing Bong jumped out and left behind, and he's just so, hey, woohoo, and he says, take her to the moon for me, as he disappears. She says, I'll try. And what I like about that is that they might not intend this at all. This could just be my interpretation as the audience member. But part of growing up, when you're a kid, you just kind of believe everything. Hey, I'm going to go to the moon. I'm going to do this thing. And when reality sets in and you're an adult, it changes from, I'm going to do this to, well, I'll try to do this. So again, I don't know if that's what they intended with that line, but that's how I took it, was that now that Riley is at this point, she lost her imaginary friend.
Yeah, she lost some of her imagination.
She lost some of her innocence and naivete. And I remember I had this discussion with my girlfriend at the time, and she was like, it's really sad when he dies, because it's a shame that he chose to die like that. And I said, the way I saw it was that it's not that he chose to, it's that he had to. How many grown-ups do you know that have an imaginary friend? He had to be let go. So, what about you?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Some funny parts that stood out to me. I like the boyfriend creator and how they're like, I would die for Riley. I thought that was really funny. I love because it's so relatable, but like the callback of like the memories that get called back, and like, hey, let's send up the gum jingle commercial, and triple dent gum, da, 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 da. And like how mad Anger gets about it, like when it comes up. Yeah, that's hilarious to me. The nightmare sequence that goes wrong is really funny to me. The dog gets cut in half, and that's really funny. And also the nightmare sequence also, that she has the one night where they're watching it, and it's like the bear is like the pizza delivery guy, and it's got broccoli on it, and that part's really funny too. There's a lot of sentiment in there too. I really love the moment at the end with Riley and her parents when she comes back, and just how they console her, and the way that they bring up the fact, that sad moments are important too, because they make you realize what's important.
Right.
So
it's a tiny little line there with Anger, but when Anger's basically, they're making the decision, like, we're going to run away, we're going to go back home to Michigan or Minnesota, and Anger, he has this line where he's like, we're going to steal from Mom, and you hear Fear say, you're going to steal? He's like, Mom got us into this, she can get us out. And it really struck me as a human, when you are angry, the things you'll say to justify to yourself your actions. And it's that exact kind of like, well, no, this is her fault. She got me into this, so now she's going to get me out. And when you're that angry, and you totally justify it to yourself. So, yeah, just great writing.
Yeah, no, and I also agree with you that dinner table scene with where he goes inside the mom and then the dad, and that whole back and forth, and the fly with me, señorita.
That's so great. Okay, so we both clearly love this film a lot. Is there anything you would change about it?
Yeah, I don't think I'd change much, if anything. It definitely, it's up there with the top, and I love how creative it is. It's so creative. It really did feel like a return to form for Pixar to me, and I can't. I'm not smart enough to think about how I would change this one. So
I agree. It's pretty flawless to me. I could maybe go through with a fine-tooth comb for nitpicks, but overall, it's just absolutely great. So moving on to our closing thoughts, it's just, man, every time I think about it, it's one of those films that when I think about it, I often think of a different section, which is pretty rare for a lot of it. And usually there's films that's always like, okay, these are the standout sections. These are the ones I repeat in the movie theater in my mind. But with this one, every time I think of the end credits. Oh, I love when Riley gives the little boy the water bottle, and his mind goes in, girl, woo, woo, through and the alarms are going off, you know, or when they're having the discussion at the dinner table and Riley was like, it was okay, I guess. And they're like, what was that? Well, I'm not Joy. I didn't know how to make her say it. There's just so many moments. And every time I watch it and think like you said, new things stick out to me, new details.
Yeah.
It's just a fantastic film.
It's
such a great return to form for them. So just great work.
The imagination land where the guy gets blown away.
Yes, yeah.
The cloud guy. I thought that was another really funny moment. There's a lot of just things will just go by and you won't think about them, and then later on you'll be like, oh yeah, that part. Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah, I even just like the little bit when they're sucking up the old memories and like get rid of everything but chopsticks and, you know, heart and soul. They suck up all the old piano. Very great, just so in tune as a human. Like, oh, of course I feel that way too. And yeah, those are the two things I remember. So I can't praise it enough. All right, well, that was Inside Out. It's a great film. Now, let's see. I think we're staying in 2015. Yeah, I believe The Good Dinosaur is next.
Yeah.
So we'll be visiting that in, I believe it was November of 2015. So until
November
then.
of 2015.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll see you then. Take care.